Jamuna Tira Banachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jayo Jayo Radhamadava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Radhamadava Jayo Radhamadava Jaya Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Hey Gopi Jana Balaba Jayo Giri Bardari Jayo Giri Bardari Jaya Gopi Jana Balaba Jayo Giri Bardari Jayo Giri Bardari Jasodanandana Jaya Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jasod Jayo Jasodanandana Jayo Braja Janaranjana Jayo Jayo Jasodanandana Jayo Gopi Janaranjana Jayo Jasodanandana Jaya Gopi Janaranjana Jamuna Tirabanachari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jayo Kunja Bihari Jamuna Tirabanachari Jayo Hey, Jamunatira Banachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hey Jamuna Tira Banachari, Jayo Kunja Bihari, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Jamuna Tira Banachari, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Jayo Radhamadhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari, Jayo Radha. Hey Jayo Radhamadhava, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hey Jayo Radhamadhava, Jaya Kunja Bihari. Hey Jayo Kalachanji, Jayo Kunja Bihari. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Hare Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hari Hari, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hari Hari. Harinam. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Everyone cry. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jayo Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jaya Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jayo Prabhupada, 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 Prabhupada. Jai Gurudev, 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 Gurudev. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Gaura Haribo. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribraja Acharya Asto Tarasata Sisimad. His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Maharaj Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paribraja Acharya Asto Tarasata Sisimad. His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki. Prem Sikaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhupada Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasdi Gaur Bhakti Vrinda Ki. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopinath Shamakun Radha Kun Giri Govardhan Ki. Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham Ki. Ganga Maya Ki. Jamuna Maya Ki. Bhakti Devi Ki. Tulsi Maharani Ki. Ananta Kodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Shri Shri Guru and Shri Shri Gauranga Hari Hari Bo. Hari Bo Hari Bo. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Good morning to everyone. And I haven't really said anything since I've been here, but I'd like to thank the Dallas community for inviting us once again to participate in the Kirtan50 festival. For me, it's an honor to be here, and we really like coming here. It's not just another festival on the schedule of festivals that people would like for you to attend, but we really like coming to Dallas. And I really appreciate the community here. I appreciate the warm-heartedness of the community here, the cordiality of all of the organizers over here, and I really appreciate the fact that it's imbued with the spirit of His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami Maharaj, who was a dear friend of mine. And when I come here, I just remember Tamal, and it makes me feel good, you know. And recently I was in Dubai for the Kirtan Rasa Festival. Did anyone here watch anything from Kirtan Rasa? Oh, next year you really have to tune in, because Kirtan Rasa is a super fantastic festival. Jai Nityananda Prabhu ki Jai. Kirtan Rasa is a super fantastic festival. And it also is organized by all of the youth of the Dubai Yatra. And they have, on a single day, they probably have 2,000 or 3,000 people who attend. Isn't it like that? More. Ananda says more. One of our devotees over there, she's an elderly lady, and she owns a group of schools in Dubai, and she gives us her Regent School to use as the venue for the Kirtan, and their sports auditorium becomes the Kirtan hall, and the devotees there, they do an amazing thing in just short notice. They transform that hall into the spiritual world, and then it's days of Kirtan. And it's so wonderful. So at one point in that Kirtan, you know, I was sitting outside just taking a break, and I was sitting with Kirtan Premi, and I was sitting with Acharya Gopi, and we were talking about how we really love that festival because the hospitality of the devotees is really something different. I mean, it's like even when we were sitting there, you know, the wife of the devotee who was like the yatra leader, who, you know, essentially established the vast Dubai Yatra, she came to us and she said, could I get you any tea? Could I get you any fresh juice? Is there anything I can do for you? And it's just the service bhavana, the Vaishnava service bhavana is so fantastic. So we were sitting there amongst ourselves, and we were saying which kirtan we really like, festival we really like going to the most. And I said straight up, I like Dubai Kirtan, and I like Dallas Kirtan. And in Kirtan Premi, he was also saying, I really love Dubai Kirtan and Dallas Kirtan. And Acharya Gopi was saying that also, but unfortunately, she's not here. I thought she was going to be here, but at any rate, she's not here. And then some of the devotees, they've had the experience of Kirtan at Radhadesh, and so that's their favorite festival. And I haven't had that good opportunity. But I'm very thankful to be here in the association of all the Dallas devotees. It's wonderful, and I look forward to coming here every year. It's so nice. So today, I'm sort of all over the place, and that's not unusual for me. But we're supposed to have Bhagwatam class, so if I'm connected to the internet, and I'm not connected to the internet now, I will see what I can do, see if I can connect to, can somebody give me a connection? Okay. Hour kirtan supposed to be going on, so Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram. If you can't get it, I'll just get back to yourself and put my phone. Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Connected? Fantastic. Okay. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we'll read Srimad Bhagwatam 12:13-23. This is from the chapter The Glories of the Srimad Bhagwatam, and this is the last verse of the Srimad Bhagwatam. So please repeat. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarva Papa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukkha Shamanas Tam Namami Harim Param. I offer my respectful obeisances. Okay, we'll do the word for word. Nama Sankirtanam. The congregational chanting of the holy names. Yasya. Of whom? Sarva Papa. All sins. Pranashanam. Are destroyed. Pranama. Bowing down. Dukkha. Misery. Shamana. Which subdues. Tam. To him. Namami. I offer my obeisances. Harim. To Lord Hari. Param. The Supreme. No purport. This is the last word spoken in the Srimad Bhagwatam. And after all the lessons are given in the Bhagwatam, after all the understanding about the superiority of the process of bhakti, after understanding all the trials and tribulations that great devotees overcame in their service to the Lord, after hearing all of the pastimes and activities of Krishna, after hearing all of the very bad effects of Kali Yuga, this is how the Bhagwatam ends. A very succinct and a very important message for all of us. As I offer my respectful obeisances unto the Supreme Lord Hari, the congregational chanting of whose name will destroy all sinful reactions. So in this last verse, the first prominence is given to chanting the holy name. And here he assures that if we just do this, then all of the sins that we have accumulated since immemorial time being in this world will be eradicated just by this chanting of the holy name. And then he says, and the offering of obeisances unto whom relieves all material suffering. So two big messages for us. If we wish to become cleansed so that we can attain liberation and go to the spiritual world and serve, as we see in all of these pictures in the temple room, we must chant the holy name. And we must learn the process of chanting the holy name very purely. And then we should always bow our heads and offer our obeisances unto the Supreme Lord. And he says that if you do that, by his grace, the Lord will relieve us of all sufferings. So I have a disciple, and I ask him to please try to find me some Acharya commentaries on the last verse of the Srimad Bhagwatam, to see what our different Acharyas say. And I have to make this big enough where I can read. So we have our original commentator on the Srimad Bhagwatam, who is Srila Sridhar Swami. And what he says is this: his holy names are very pure and confidential, and his holy names are very merciful. To receive proper blessings, one's sadhana should be very sincere. So that's his commentary. There is really nothing as powerful as the holy names of the Lord. But in order for one's chanting of the holy names to be successful, we must become sincere sadhakas. Srila Rupa Goswami, which can never really be repeated enough. He has said that this is the essence of all the instructions in the matter of performing bhakti. There he says, Tan nama rupa charitadi su kirtananu smrito kramena rasana manasi niyoga tishtan braje tad anuragi jananugami kalam nayat akilam iti upadesh sar. So the sar, or the essence of all the practices of bhakti, is that each of us should hear Tan Nama, we should chant the holy name, hear the form, Tan Nama, Rupa, Charitadi, activities, and he says Sukirtananu. And this Sukirtananu means offenselessly. So that should be really, that should be like a goal for all of us in our practice of bhakti, that we want to carefully perform bhakti and become more and more less likely to commit any of these nam aparads that will obstruct our attainment of Krishna prema. This last year I was speaking to one devotee, and he told me that he had a position in management where, oftentimes he offended devotees. And I suggested to him, maybe it's better that you don't perform that service. If you're going to offend Vaishnavas, find something that's more suitable to your nature, but offending Vaishnavas is only like fire. It will keep us from attaining that goal of Krishna Prema. So Rupa Goswami says, the sar is Tannama Rupa Charitari Sukirtananu Smrito Kramena Manasi Niyoga. He says, if we're always doing that, chanting offenselessly and hearing about the form and the activities, the pastimes of Krishna, the effect will be is that our mind and our senses will become perfectly fixed and controlled. Now that's kind of contrary to what some people may say. Some people may say that you should have your mind perfectly fixed and then you can hear about Krishna. But here Rupa Goswami says something different. He says you should always hear. And if we read the message of the Bhagwatam, practically on every page of the Bhagwatam, it explains to us that the method of understanding Krishna is simply to hear and chant his glories. Even in the beginning of the Bhagwatam, when Shukadeva Goswami meets Parikshit Maharaj, he tells him, Parikshit Maharaj, he has a week, and that's it. He doesn't have more time. He's been cursed. There's a time limit. And he assures Parikshit Maharaj that he'll be able to do it. He gives an example of this Maharaj Khatvanga. Maharaj Khatvanga took a blessing from the Devatas that, please, you just inform me one moment before my death is supposed to come, because in that one moment, I'll be able to fix my mind upon the Lord. So Shukadeva Goswami, he told Parikshit Maharaj, he said, look, Khatvanga had one moment. We have 1 week, so we will accomplish this. But then he gave him the formula, and he said, Tasmat Bharata Sarvatma Bhagavan Ishvaro Hari. And then he gave the real formula, Shrotavyak Kirtitavyascha Smartavyak Chetabayam. He says, you should always remember the Supreme Lord Hari, who is the super soul within your heart. He says, but how to do that? He says, you have to hear very, very carefully all the time. Shrotavyak and then Kirtitavyascha. You have to speak what you hear. It's like when we read about Krishna in Srimad Bhagwatam, or when we read the lessons of Bhagavad Gita, or when we hear Krishna's activities and pastimes, we need to speak that. Shrotavyak Kirtitavyascha. And then that creates a situation of Smartavyak. Meaning, like Srila Prabhupada would always give such simple example. If you're always speaking about something, and if you're always hearing about something, then you're going to remember something. And Prabhupada would give the example of stock market, for those people who live in exchange, I went to my sister's house one time, and her husband on the television, he was watching something, but all along the bottom of the television, all of these stock market numbers were like going, so he could constantly see what was going on. Or in any field, if you're a doctor, or if you're always hearing and you're always speaking, so constantly you're remembering. And then he says the effect of that will be Chetabayam. And Baya means fear, but Chetabayam means one becomes free because one becomes free from the bodily condition of life. We become free, we become liberated. simply by this process of hearing and chanting about Krishna, liberation will be attained. And that liberation for us is not, some type of entering into an impersonal situation, but liberation for us means, what is it that Sutta Goswami says? He says, Muktir hitvanyata rupam swarupena vyavastiti. That mukti means all of this material ideas which are reflecting upon our mind, which are reflecting upon our soul and causing our conditioning, all of these material conceptions will go away, completely go away. And then swarupena vyavastiti. Then we become situated in our original swarup as the eternal servant of Kalachandji. What could be so nice? To be the eternal servant of Shri Radha Kalachandji. Okay, so that's our Sridhar Swami. And then there's another Acharya, Bangsidhar Swami. He says, the jiva is actually the Nityadas of the Lord. But because of this material body and ignorance, we keep forgetting our real relationship with the Lord and the real way to reach the Lord. By the mercy of the spiritual master or by the mercy of a great sadhu, one can realize this relationship. One thing is sure, and that is that whoever will read the Srimad Bhagwatam will definitely understand Krishna fully. Because Krishna can be known by Krishna only. And in this sense, Krishna becomes our master, who is the top servant of the holy names. And in that way, we realize that the holy name is everything in existence. There's that instance over here. If we have time, I want to get around to reading something from Brihad Bhagavatamritam, where Gopa Kumar is meeting with the Vaikuntha Dutas in the impersonal Brahman. And they tell him, they say, really, you are qualified to go to Vaikuntha. He had no idea that Vaikuntha existed until a few minutes before when he met Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva told him, I live in Vaikuntha. And so Gopa Kumar was like, oh my God, where is this Vaikuntha? I have to go to this place. And then next he met the Vaikuntha people who were coming down from Vaikuntha and going in to the material world to spread Harinam Sankirtan. In fact, he was so bewildered, he looked at the Vaikuntha people, he said, who are you? Who are you? I've never seen people like you before. And they said, oh, we're the personal associates of Lord Krishna from the spiritual world. He said, well, what are you doing here? If the spiritual world is someplace else, what are you doing here? And he said, we're going into the material world to save people by giving them Harinam Sankirtan. And then they told Gopa Kumar, they said, turn around and look. And from his position, he sort of turned around. And from that vantage point, he could just look into the material world, and he could see all of these parties of Vaikuntha people, like sailing into the material world just to spread Harinam Sankirtan. So here it says we can understand Krishna by this study of Srimad Bhagwatam. Oh yes, the point that I wanted to make is they told Gopa Kumar, they said, actually, you have qualification for going to the spiritual world, but you're going to have to change something. And he said, what do I have to change? And they said, well, now they said, you have qualification for going to the spiritual world, but you're going to have to change the way that you chant. And he said, what do you mean? What have I got to do? And they said, well, to go to the spiritual world, you have to chant with love. You have to chant with prema. And then Gopa Kumar, naturally, like all the rest of us, he looked up and he said, "How do you chant with prema?" And probably every person in this temple room has asked that question before. How do you chant with prema? And then the Vaikuntha people looked at him and said, "Well, that's very simple. You must study Srimad Bhagwatam. You have to study Srimad Bhagwatam. Because if you study Bhagwatam, you will know Krishna. And when you know Krishna, you will love him ceaselessly." Gopa Kumar said, "Well, that's good, but where am I going to study Srimad Bhagwatam? I'm here in the impersonal Brahman. Is there a online class I can enroll in?" And the Vaikuntha people said, "Oh, you want to study Srimad Bhagwatam? Then you must go to the place that fulfills all of your desires." He said, "Where is that?" They said, "Vrindavan Dham." So then what did Gopa Kumar do? He just bowed down to offer his obeisances to the Vaikuntha people. And then when he came back up again, he was in Vrindavan. And in Vrindavan, he was wandering on the banks, in the jungles, on the banks of the Jamuna. And there he found a vast group of Brahmins who were just sitting and studying Srimad Bhagwatam. And they said, "Young cowherd boy, come join us. We will teach you Bhagwatam." And it's stated that after he learned the topics of the Bhagwatam, he became mad with love for Krishna. And he started just spontaneously, he started creating verses of love of Krishna's holy names. And one of those days he was chanting these verses of love, just spontaneous composition, and he fell down unconscious in ecstasy and separation from Krishna. And at that time, the Vaikuntha people came and picked him up, and put him on an airplane, and whoosh, went to the spiritual world. So this Acharya says, Srimad Bhagwatam is necessary in our chanting of the holy names. And then Jiva Goswami gives a summary. And Jiva Goswami says, let's see. Here, like the person who sent me this message, he said, Jiva Goswami, basically what he does in his commentary on this last verse to the Bhagwatam is he just offers his obeisances to all acharyas. He prays for their mercy, that he will be able to understand Krishna. He prays for their mercy, that he will be able to chant purely the holy names of the Lord. And then Jiva Goswami concludes with this verse that everybody in this room knows, so you can repeat the verse. Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purnakshudo Nityamukto Binatnam Naminamano. The holy name of Krishna is transcendently blissful. It bestows all spiritual benedictions, for it is Krishna himself, the reservoir of all pleasure. Krishna's name is complete, and it is the form of all transcendental mellows. Krishna's name is not a material name under any condition, and it is no less powerful than Krishna himself. Since Krishna's name is not contaminated by the material qualities, there is no question of Krishna's name ever being involved with Maya. Krishna's name is always liberated and spiritual. It is never conditioned by the laws of material nature. This is because the name of Krishna and Krishna himself are identical. Isn't that a wonderful verse? And that's from the Padma Purana. And then another Acharya, Sri Bhagavat Prasad Acharya, this is his summary. I bow to the holy name as they are non-different from the Lord. The Lord has two topmost qualities. He is Paratatta and Solabhya. Paratva means he is beyond everything, he is the top of everything, and nothing is beyond him. Sulabhya means that he is available to everyone. Means that although he is the complete whole, or the topmost, at the same time, he is available to everyone equally, and the best way, he is available to everyone in this age of Kali is through the chanting of Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. The holy names is the topmost activity and is available to everyone to deliver themselves very quickly. So there's that verse, Vasudev Bhagavati Bhakti Yoga Prayojitaha Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayat Haitukam. That our goal is always to engage in the devotional service of Vasudeva. And Janayati Ashu Vairagyam Jnanam Chayad Ahaitukam. This verse, and this in particular, Srila Prabhupada says in his verse, he says this Ashu means very quickly. He says quickly will come causeless knowledge and detachment. And I think all of us have experience of that. You know, when we first came to Krishna consciousness, we started hearing from our spiritual masters, we started hearing from sadhus, we started chanting the holy names, and then there was like a flash of revelation that was always coming to us. This causeless knowledge from the Lord, understanding things out of the blue. But here he says, Ashu, very quickly this will come through chanting the holy names of the Lord. Whereas you perform karma, jnana, yoga, this can take such a long time, very, very long time. And all of our acharyas have explained to us that perfection in karma, jnana, and yoga are just not possible unless they are touched by bhakti. Otherwise, it will take forever and a day. All right, now I'll go back to my computer if it wants to work for me. And I'll read another Acharya's commentary on the last verse of the Srimad Bhagwatam. So again, the verse is Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarvapapa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukashamanas Namami Harim Param. Just one point before I go ahead. Those who have been to my to Radharaman Bagicha in Vrindavan and participated in any of our kirtans. Has anyone ever gone there for kirtan in Vrindavan and just sat for a kirtan evening? I have a neighbor, his name is His Holiness Balaram Das Baba. And he's a very wonderful saint. He's a very, very pure devotee. And he always does Harinam. And his kutir, his little room across from my place, every day he has kirtan going from 7 o'clock in the morning till 8:30 at night. And he has many kutirs around Vrindavan where he has that going on. And always Harinam, always Harinam. Many times when people come to our place to do Harinam, he's got loud Bengali kirtan going in his place. So Radharaman Bagicha sort of becomes like the battle of the bands, you know, things going on. But whenever they end their kirtan, whenever they finish their kirtan, they always chant this verse. Nama Sankirtanam Yasya Sarvapapa Pranashanam Pranamo Dukashamanas Namami Harim Param. So this other Acharya, he says, Pap means all anomalies, all undesirable things, sins. Material enjoyment and liberation are considered in the category of anomalies. sinful activities. Why is liberation considered sinful? Because it is an abnormal condition. Our natural function is to serve Krishna, but we do not do that in salvation. Mere salvation does not include service to Krishna, so that is an abnormal position. All right, and then he concludes. He says, the concluding verse of Srimad Bhagwatam says, Krishna's holy name can relieve us of all undesirable sinfulness, all filthy characteristics, and all miseries. Let us bow down to him. Uttering this verse, the Srimad Bhagwatam abruptly stops. And then the great Srimad Bhagwatam becomes silent. The last word of the Bhagwatam is Nama Sankirtanam. The Bhagwatam has given such great importance to the chanting of the holy name of Krishna. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu developed it from that point. The last publication of the compiler of the Vedic literature, Srila Vyasadeva, took theism to that stage and gave it to the public, announcing, you all must always chant the holy name of Krishna. Do this. Nothing more is necessary. Just chant Hare Krishna. It's very interesting to think that Srila Vyasadeva, or however the end of the Bhagavatam was spoken, brought it to this point. You know, after everything's said and done, all of you chant the holy names, chant the holy names, chant the holy names. This is the conclusion of Srimad Bhagwatam, the greatest spiritual gift of Vyasadeva. Chant the holy names of Krishna and begin your life in this very dark age of Kali with the most brilliant godly conceptions of life. And okay, so now I'm going to go to some other points that I made. What is the time? 8:52. I should hurry. Just some verses about the holy name. Some verses and then a couple bhajans that we'll read about the holy names. First verse we'll read is a verse that everybody knows. Cheto darpanam arjanam bhava mahadavagni nirvapanam shreya kaira vachandri kavitaranam vidyavadu jivanam anandam buddhibardhanam pratipatam purna amrit svadadam sarvatma snapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. Let there be all victory for the chanting of the holy name of Lord Krishna, which can do the following things. So our Acharyas, they break down the different aspects of what the holy name of Krishna can do. And actually our Acharyas explain that the entire, in Sikshastakam, which were the 8 verses left by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he explains the entire process of Krishna consciousness from the awakening of Shraddha to the development of Krishna Prema Bhakti. But then he also explains all of that in the first verse also. And when all of us, we know this Sikshastakam and we read it and we read it and we read it. But when we read Sikshastakam and we read commentaries of Acharyas, then the meaning of Sikshastakam becomes more open for us. Oftentimes the example is given of a piece of cotton. You take a small piece of cotton, but then you can take that cotton and you can fluff it, and it becomes very, very fluffed up. So all of our acharyas from the time of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they've been taking the meaning of Sikshastakam, and they've been fluffing it out so that we people in Kali Yuga can understand its meaning. So first point of Sikshastakam is if we chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra, it will cleanse the mirror of the heart. So we're covered by so many desires, all of us. And we're covered by so many different conceptions of happiness. And all of these desires and conceptions of happiness, they reflect upon our soul. It's just like we have men sitting on this side, and men have a certain set of desires that they follow in life. We have ladies sitting on this side, and ladies have another set of desires. Very, very, very simple example. Once I was in Zurich with my friend Madhava, who sings Kirtan. You all know Madhava. And Zurich, Swiss is that place where they have all of those super $1 million watches that the rich people buy. And Madhava took me downtown in Swiss, and he wanted to show me those shops where all of those super extravagant, crazy priced watches are, and I had no interest. I said, let's go do something else. So we were walking. They have a lake. Is it a lake in Zurich? There's a lake in Zurich right in the middle of the town, and the water is so pure everybody goes swimming there. So we were walking over to the lake, and I noticed one small shop on the side where they had pearls. And whenever I see things like pearls, I think Radhesham. You know, it's like you know, I have like champagne aspirations, but I have 7-Up budget. But when I see something nice for Radhesham, I have to go there, you know. So I went to the shop, and I pushed the security button on the door, and a lady came to the door, and she was probably about 50-ish, dressed in a business suit, looked very elegant. She opened the door. I said, "Madam, I have absolutely no intention of buying anything in your shop, but these pearls are so beautiful, I want you to tell me about them." And she looked at me and she said, "Sir, I have absolutely no intention of selling you anything in my shop, but since you have fine taste, come in." So she was showing me these pearls, like a string of ladies' pearls that were like really, really big and really, really heavy. And I asked her, I said, "How much does that cost?" And she said, 500,000 Swiss francs, which is equivalent to about $500,000. I said, "Wow, that's crazy." She said, "Why crazy?" She said, "Walk to my door and look on the street, and then come back and tell me what you saw." So I walked to the door and I looked on the street, and I saw Maserati, and I saw Ferrari, and I saw Maybach, and I saw Rolls Royce, and I went back, and she said, those are the desires of the men. She said, these are the desires of the ladies. But all of these desires, they reflect on the soul. And when they reflect on the soul, we become so confused about what our real state of happiness is and what actually will make us happy. That's one of the prime aspects of Kali Yuga. Anarto pasamam shakshat bhakti yoga adhoksaje. You know, everybody in Kali Yuga is bound by anartha. And the only way to become free from anartha, bhakti yoga adhoksaje. And then lokasya ajanato vidvan stitan satve prasidati. Because Vyasadeva understood that sad fact about everybody in Kali Yuga, he compiled the Sattvata Sanghita, which is the Srimad Bhagwatam. So again, it points back, if you read Srimad Bhagwatam, you will automatically become free from anarthas. So from the beginning of our practice of Harinam, all of these different desires and anarthas from within the heart, they become removed, or they start becoming removed. Now this is an interesting point that this one Acharya made that I hadn't considered before, but I wanted to present today. This Acharya is said in our Vedic culture, and in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna has established Varnashram Dharma. Is that correct? Chaturvarnam maya shishtam gunakarma vibhagashaha. He's established Varnashram culture for what purpose? Basically, just to make people civilized and to make people behave like humans, in a responsible way. But here it is said that, and that will gradually purify people. But here it's said that by this establishment of Harinam Sankirtan and by the practice, the consistent practice of Harinam Sankirtan, that the goal of Varnashram culture is already achieved. Varnashram culture is slowly taking us to the point of becoming civilized. Chanting Hare Krishna immediately brings us to that position. So the first aspect of the first blessing is the cleansing of the heart. And the second aspect is it stops the miseries of the blazing fire of material existence. And our situation, all of us, is that we're involved in our past karmas. And all of us are forced to take birth, and all of us are going to die. But Harinam Sankirtan, if we will chant Harinam Sankirtan, it will liberate us from this process of birth and death. Then the next aspect of Harinam Sankirtan is Shreya Kairava Chandri Kavitaranam Vidyabaru Jivanam. And the translation, it says that the chanting of the holy names is the waxing moon that spreads the white lotus of good fortune for all living beings. And through this Shreyak Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, the goal of life becomes revealed. Now, one of our acharyas, either Srila Bhaktivinoda or Srila Bhaktisiddhanta, states that that there are different types of lotuses. And there are red lotuses, and there are pink lotuses. Chaitanya Charitamrita says there are blue lotuses also, because oftentimes or in some places in Chaitanya Charitamrita we read about the battle of the blue lotuses and the pink lotuses. But here he's saying there's another type of lotus, and that's called the Kairava lotus. And pink lotus, blue lotus, red lotus, they're opened under the impulse of the sunlight. But the white lotus is opened under the impulse of the cooling rays of the moon. So the bhava and prem filled rays of the pure chanting of the Hare Krishna Mahamantra will cause the lotus of the heart to open. And when that lotus opens, we, the living being, become revealed in our full glory. Meaning, no more subtle conception, no more physical conception, but we'll be situated in the understanding that I am the eternal servant of Krishna. And beyond that, not just a theoretical conception of that I'm the servant of Krishna, but understanding perfectly which servant of Krishna are we. It's like I can say, Prabhu, what is your name? I forget. Jai Gauranga, who are you? And because Jai Gauranga is a good devotee, he'll say, I'm a servant of Krishna. But then I'll say, well, which servant are you? What is your village? What is your dress? What is your complexion? What is your mama's name? What is your papa's name? You know. But when we come to that point through chanting Hare Krishna, perfection in chanting Hare Krishna, we actually understand who we are in the spiritual world. Or like one time, it had to be a long time ago, I had a moment of association with a pure devotee, my godbrother Srila Gaur Govinda Swami. And he was giving a discussion, and I asked him after, I said, so by hearing Krishna's pastimes and by chanting Krishna's holy names, I said, by hearing all the time, Krishna's pastimes will become revealed to us. And he smiled and he said, yes, exactly. And then he said, but beyond that, who you are in Krishna's pastimes will become revealed also. And that's something very interesting that we should be aspiring to understand as devotees, you know. It requires more digging, some more research, some more sangha with devotees who are, you know, wishing, you know, to become elevated in bhakti. But that's the direction that we're meant to be going in. Okay, and also Acharyas, this Shreyak Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam, some Acharyas mention that this Shreyak in this verse, it gives reference to Lord Nityananda. Because Lord Nityananda Chandra, he's like the cooling moon of unrestricted mercy. Arakabe nitai chande koruna huibe samsara basana mora kabitu chahave. By serving Nitai, all of our material desires will go away. And Nitai charan binibai Radha Krishna paitenai. Without service to Nityananda, we will never be able to serve Radha and Krishna in the spiritual world. Okay. So then, next point, it is the life and soul of all education, meaning our goal is self-realization. That's the highest goal, understanding who we are, understanding who Krishna is, understanding what our relationship is with Krishna. And then, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam. Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, it means what? It means the unlimited ocean of bliss. The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra expands the unlimited ocean of bliss. And that's because we meet Krishna in that state of perfection. We meet Krishna and our ecstasy is always expanding. I have a slight anecdote in this regard. I don't know if I've told it over here before. But in 77, a few weeks before Srila Prabhupada passed away, the devotees always read good positive news to Srila Prabhupada to keep him enlivened. In the afternoon, they would have letter session. And His Holiness Tamal Krishna Goswami would always read, you know, very positive letters to Srila Prabhupada. So there was a letter that came across from South Africa, and they had just opened a temple called Cato Ridge, and it was special. I mean, this was like 77. That's like really the racist time in South Africa, but in this Cato Ridge, you know, the white devotees, the Indian devotees, and the African devotees, they all stayed together, which was absolutely against the law. I mean, if they caught white in a brown area, you could get arrested. If they caught brown in a white area, you could get arrested. If you were black. If you were any place, you'd get arrested. And it was very strict. But here in Cato Ridge, everybody was together. And so they sent this report to Srila Prabhupada, and His Holiness Tamal Krishna Maharaj was reading it to Srila Prabhupada, and I was sitting right at the end of the bed listening. And talking about the temple opening, and this was a clip from the newspaper. And then it said, this Hare Krishna movement, through the chanting of Hare Krishna, it makes people happy, healthy, and holy. When Srila Prabhupada heard that, he looked at Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he went, read that again. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, this chanting of Hare Krishna makes people happy, healthy, and holy. And then Prabhupada said, yes, it is a fact. He said, before you people came to me, you were so dirty. None of you were very healthy, and you were all miserable. He said, but this chanting has transformed you, and now you're like beautiful dancing peacocks all the time, you know. And when we heard Srila Prabhupada describing that way, and his voice was so weak, but he was expressing how the holy name had transformed our lives, and we all knew it was a fact that the holy names had transformed our lives. You know, we were so happy. And then he said, please continue reading. So Tamal Krishna Maharaj read the next line. And it said, this Krishna consciousness movement is meant for smashing bogus yogis. And Srila Prabhupada went, read that again. Tamal Krishna Maharaj read it. Because Srila Prabhupada, you know, because of his realization, his perfection, his age, Srila Prabhupada could speak in very strong ways about other people, you know, that, you know, we could not do. I mean, we could do, but people would see us as being impertinent. But Srila Prabhupada would speak very strongly. And then Srila Prabhupada, he started going off on sort of like a discussion about one Bengali sadhu who Prabhupada said this one Bengali sadhu destroyed the Vaishnava culture of Bengal. And Prabhupada was speaking in that way. And then Prabhupada made different comments. And, you know, hearing Prabhupada talk in such a weakened, debilitated condition and speaking with vigor, all of us were like really enlivened. And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj, he said, Srila Prabhupada, you've done something so wonderful. He said, this Hare Krishna movement is an ever-expanding ocean of ecstasy. And Prabhupada went, what did you say? And he said, Prabhupada, this Hare Krishna movement is an ever-expanding ocean of ecstasy. And Prabhupada went, what did you say? And then Tamal Krishna Maharaj said, Prabhupada, this movement is anandam buddhi bardhanam. And when Prabhupada heard that, as weak as he was, his like frail hand thrust up in the air, and it was shaking like this. And then Prabhupada, in a very loud voice, he said, Param Vijayate Sri Krishna Sankirtanam. And then Prabhupada's arm fell back down to his side. So yes, it's an ocean of Ananda through chanting the holy names. Chanting the holy names and the association of pure devotees. Always looking for devotees who have a taste, who want to chant these holy names, sitting in their association, chanting, hearing something about Krishna. This is our process of purification. And let's see, oh yes. Anandam buddhibardhanam pratipatam purna amrit swadanam sarvat masnapanam param vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. It gives taste at every step of life. It gives taste at every step of our process of sadhana bhakti in this world. As long as we will cling to the holy names, as long as we will prioritize and make the holy names our very life and soul, we will always be protected. And here, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he gives a comment. And he says, some people may say, you Vaishnavas, you're always talking about serving Krishna selflessly. You Vaishnavas are always talking like you don't want anything. You only want the pleasure of Krishna. That's Lishyava, Pararatam, Panashtumam, so forth and so on. You always speak in that way, but here you're talking about, ooh, there's going to be ecstasy and swimming around in the ocean of ecstasy. But here Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he gives emphasis that the joy and the bliss of Premananda that comes through the chanting of the holy names is so purifying, like fire, that it purifies the heart of the sadhaka of any self-motivated desire. It's not, when we're feeling so much joy in Kirtan and we feel like our evil mind is like finally just absorbed in sound and we're so happy, and then we become moved and we stand up and we want to dance. It's not self-motivated. It's become purified by the joy of Premananda. But then he concludes by saying the final thing that we all know, Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. So what does Param mean? Param means supreme, right? So in this context, what does it mean? It means that for all of us and for everybody, whether they understand or not, the supreme spiritual sadhana for the age of Kali is Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. Or if we want to have a broad-minded and liberal perspective, as our Srila Prabhupada, any bona fide name of God, you chant that name of God. But you chant it sukirtananu. You chant it offenselessly. It's like the past 35 years of my life, I've lived with my Muslim brothers and sisters. And they're performing namaz. And I think it's just across the board. For Kali Yuga, Nam is the process. Hare Nam Eva Kevalam. Perform namaz 5 times a day. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, you see. But purely, we have to follow the process purely. And so Param is the supreme spiritual practice, is the chanting of God's name. And then Vijayate. Vijayate means victory. So by purely chanting the holy name, by Krishna's grace, and by the grace of the holy name, we will overcome the effects of the 3 modes of material nature. We will become free. Srila Prabhupada always said these gunas are just like ropes that bind us up. We're in a bound condition of life, all of us. But when these shackles are removed, then we can fly. We become free. But that will come through surrendering to Krishna, through chanting His holy names. Krishna tells us in the Gita, Daivi heshu gunamayi mama maya duratya mam evaye prapajante mayamitam tarantite. These modes are impossible to overcome, but if you surrender to me, by my grace, I can lift the effect of the modes of material nature. So param bijayate, and then Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. He says you have to chant Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. And generally, like, we have many people here from Vedic culture, they're Indian families. And a lot of times when our Indian families, when they think of Shri, they think of Lakshmi Ji. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is saying, chant Lakshmi Krishna. But we understand that just as Krishna is Swayam Bhagavan, and Krishna has multitudes of expansions, similarly Sri Radha has multitudes of expansions as different Lakshmi Jis. But Sri Radha is the origin of all the Lakshmi Jis. And so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling us to chant Radha Krishna. He's telling us, and then Srila Prabhupada always explained to us that this Hare is Sri Radha. So we chant Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And that's about half of what I wanted to cover, but I can't go any longer. I'll just read 2 verses that I like a lot, if I can get my device open. Param Vijayate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. I don't know what I should read. I have so many nice things here. Srila Prabhupada had one pure devotee god brother who I was fortunate to have a little association with. His name was Srila Akinchana Krishna Das Babaji Maharaj. And before he would ever chant Hare Krishna, he had a Mangalacharanam that he would chant. And this is one of the verses that would always be in his Mangalacharanam. Kalyananam dinanam kalimatamatanam pavanam pavananam pattayanyan mamokshu sapadi parapada praptaye prochamanam Bishramam stanamekam kavivaravachasam jivanam sajjananam bijam dharma dharmasya prabhavavo bhavatam bhutaye Krishna nama. May Krishna's holy name, which is a reservoir of all transcendental happiness, which is the destroyer of Kali Yuga's sins, which is the most purifying of all purifying things, which is the saintly person's food as he traverses the path to the spiritual world, which is the pleasure garden where the voices of the greatest saints, philosophers, and poets play, which is the life of the righteous, and which is the seed of the tree of religion. May that holy name of Krishna bring transcendental auspiciousness to you all. And the author of that is unknown. And then another verse that he would always chant, Vepanti duritani moha mahima samoham alambate satankam nakaranjanim kalayate Sri Chitragupta Kriti Sanandam Madhuparka Sambriti Bidal Veda Karoti Udyama Bhaktam Namni Taveshvarabi Lasate Brahma Kim Anyats Param. This is interesting. O Supreme Personality of Godhead, if a person simply desires to chant your holy name, sin begins to tremble in fear. The glory of material illusion faints unconscious. Yamaraja's scribe, Chitragupta, becomes happy, and he gazes at the chanter's toenails with awe and reverence. And Lord Brahma prepares Madhuparka to worship him. O Lord, what more can we say than this? Here it says, if a person simply desires to chant the holy name, you know, material illusion just faints. And if a person just desires to chant Krishna's holy name, sin begins to tremble in fear. If a person just desires to chant Krishna's holy name, then Yamaraja's scribe, Chitragupta, I mean, we always consider, you know, the unfortunate seva that Yamaraj has. What about his scribe, you know, Chitragupta, who has to write everything down? You know, this Govinda Swami did this, Govinda Swami did that, Govinda Swami did this, Govinda Swami did that. Here it says, Yamaraja's scribe, Chitragupta, becomes happy, and he just starts staring at the toenails of the person who just wants to chant. He starts staring at the toenails with awe and reverence. And then Brahma, when he knows that a person wants to chant Hare Krishna, he starts preparing Madhuparka in order to worship that person. O Lord, what more can we say than this? And I should conclude. I'll just read one more verse. I had a couple prayers by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. I will stop, just this one last prayer. But I had two prayers by Bhaktivinoda Thakur. We have to wait till next year. This is a prayer. Lord Krishna's holy name is the only auspiciousness in this world. If one places the holy name on his neck, then who is this Yamaraj? Who is this king of the other world to him? What are Yamaraj's servants to him for the person who just places the holy name on his neck? So we've all been blessed that we've come in this line of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our Sri Guru Parampara. We have received the greatest blessing that can be given, which is the holy name of Krishna. Srila Raghunath Das Goswami, when he enumerates the blessings which come from Sri Guru, he says, Nama Shreshtam, Manum api Sachiputra Matta Sarupam. He says, Nama Shresht, the greatest of all blessings that we receive from Guru Maharaj is the holy name of Krishna. So we've been blessed that we've come in this line from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and our predecessor Acharyas. We've been blessed by our Srila Prabhupada. You've been blessed by the divine grace of your spiritual masters to accept this holy name and to chant this holy name. And all of us have been blessed here by this wonderful Dallas community of Krishna consciousness, that we can come here and we can conclude our yearly housekeeping, our house cleansing, by sitting absorbed in Harinam Sankirtan, and we can begin New Year on the most auspicious point of chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. So thank you all very much. Please remember that this is our greatest gift, that our spiritual masters have given us the holy name of Krishna. Always keep that treasure in your heart Whenever you may face a difficult point in your life, always know that you will be protected by the holy names. When this boy, Gopa Kumar, was speaking to the people in Vaikuntha, they were telling him, no, you should go to Vaikuntha. You're qualified. You have qualification. You should go. And then they told him something very special. They said, since you are a dedicated chanter of the holy names of the Lord, know something. That something is this, that on your path, you will have questions at different times. On your path, you'll have tests at different times. On your path, you may even have doubts at different times. But because you are a dedicated chanter of the holy names, always know when these things are going on, we are exactly behind you. You know, it's like very interesting. You know, the Yamadutas have our back, which is, and excuse me, the Vishnu Dutas, not the Yamadutas. The Yamadutas have my back. For all of you, the Vishnu Dutas have your back, you know. But we're really blessed. We can't imagine the inconceivable fortune that we've been given through this process of Nam Sankirtan and the association of pure devotees. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Hare Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Radha Kalachandji ki. Nitai Gaur Premanandi. Haribo.
Thank you so much, Maharaj, for the wonderful class and for your association. I think we all wanted to hear all the rest of the prayers and songs that you had, but I think we're even happier to hear that you will be here to share them with us again next year. So we eagerly await that return. Thank you so much, Maharaj, for coming to Dallas, taking the trouble to travel all the way here. I'm so grateful for you coming here for this festival. It means so much to all of us. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. Let's give Maharaj a big Hare Bo.